The result unforeseen by the assassins was that Caesar's death precipitated the end of the Roman Republic. 86 The Roman middle and lower classes, with whom Caesar was immensely popular and had been since before Gaul, became enraged that a small group of aristocrats had killed their champion. Antony, who had been drifting apart from Caesar, capitalized on the grief of the Roman mob and threatened to unleash them on the Optimates, perhaps with the intent of taking control of Rome himself. However, to his surprise and chagrin, Caesar had named his grandnephew Gaius Octavian his sole heir, bequeathing him the immensely potent Caesar name and making him one of the wealthiest citizens in the Republic. 87 The crowd at the funeral boiled over, throwing dry branches, furniture and even clothing onto Caesar's funeral pyre, causing the flames to spin out of control, seriously damaging the forum. The mob then attacked the houses of Brutus and Cassius, where they were repelled only with considerable difficulty, ultimately providing the spark for the Liberators' civil war, fulfilling at least in part Antony's threat against the aristocrats. 88 However, Antony did not foresee the ultimate outcome of the next series of civil wars, particularly with regard to Caesar's adopted heir. Octavian, aged only 18 when Caesar died, proved to have considerable political skills, and while Antony dealt with Decimus Brutus in the first round of the new civil wars, Octavian consolidated his tenuous position. To combat Brutus and Cassius, who were massing an enormous army in Greece, Antony needed soldiers, the cash from Caesar's war chests, and the legitimacy that Caesar's name would provide for any action he took against them. With the passage of the Lex Titia on November 27, 43 BC 89, the Second Triumvirate was officially formed, composed of Antony, Octavian, and Caesar's loyal cavalry commander Lepidus. 90 It formally deified Caesar as Divus Iulius in 42 BC, and Caesar Octavian henceforth became Divus Iulius, son of a god. 91 Because Caesar's clemency had resulted in his murder, the Second Triumvirate brought back the practice of proscription, abandoned since solid. 92 It engaged in the legally sanctioned murder of a large number of its opponents to secure funding for its 45 legions in the Second Civil War against Brutus and Cassius. 93 Antony and Octavius defeated them at Philippi. 94 Gaius Julius Caesar Octavianus, Caesar's adopted heir. Afterward, Mark Antony married Caesar's lover, Cleopatra, intending to use the fabulously wealthy Egypt as a base to dominate Rome. A third civil war broke out between Octavian on one hand and Antony and Cleopatra on the other. This final civil war, culminating in the latter's defeat at Actium, resulted in the permanent ascendancy of Octavian, who became the first Roman emperor, under the name Caesar Augustus, the name that raised him to the status of a deity. 95 Julius Caesar had been preparing to invade Parthia, the Caucasus and Scythia, and then march back to Germania through Eastern Europe. These plans were thwarted by his assassination. 96 His successors did attempt the conquests of Parthia and Germania, but without lasting results. Julius Caesar was the first historical Roman to be officially deified. He was posthumously granted the title Divus Iulius or Divus Julius, the divine Julius or the deified Julius, by decree of the Roman Senate on January 1, 42 BC. Though his temple was not dedicated until after his death, he may have received divine honors during his lifetime. 97 And shortly before his assassination, Mark Antony had been appointed as his flamant priest. 98 Both Octavian and Mark Antony promoted the cult of Divus Iulius. After the death of Antony, Octavian, as the adoptive son of Caesar, assumed the title of Divus Iulius, son of a god.